Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm not thinking anything
For you. You shouldn't. Thank you. I want to welcome everyone to our April 16th meeting. Please note Ms. Scott's absent. Okay, items from council. I have a few things. I know we do have, OC has the Distinguished Citizens Award process we want to do. You want to do that first, OC? Let's make those presentations. Are you ready? Sure. Okay, and then we'll check with the rest of council. This is special.
Be happy to start off council meeting tonight with honoring some very special citizens. We have 10 citizens that have been qualified for the 2019 Distinguished Citizens Award. This is quite an accomplishment. They have passed all 3 city academies. So that's the Police Academy, the Fire Academy, and the Citizens Academy. All told, they have attended a meeting a week for at least 36 weeks. And that doesn't include some of the optional meetings and encounters that they were offered. It turns out today that our 2 chiefs are all at conferences this week. So I'm going to have Captain Kevin Sanderson from the police department to come up, representing the police department. I told him he could not make a speech today. I'm sorry. The fire department is represented by Assistant Chief Shannon Martin. City Manager Charmel Garrett will be representing the Citizens Academy. And then the mayor will be awarding the awards. And I will add that a lot of people that have gotten the Distinguished Citizens Award have gone on to serve on commissions, on boards, and this provides a nice resource for the city of Victoria in terms of very educated citizens on city government, our goals, our strategic plans, so they make for a nice resource for us. I'm going to call out these citizens' names alphabetically, and then stay around, if you will, for a group photograph afterwards. So we'll start out with Dolly C. Alexander. Come up, Adalia. Michelle Cooper. James Cordelius. Elizabeth Garza. Sherry Kainer. Melissa Lewis, already a Parks Commissioner. Melissa's already a Parks Commissioner. Cherie Martin. Cynthia Quintanilla. Congrats. Gloria Rodriguez. And our final 2019 Distinguished Citizens Awardee is Sarah Solonsky. We'll have to squeeze in for a nice photograph.
Some of y'all gonna have to stand up on the stage.
I'm going to squeeze into this one.
Yeah,
Put
run
the
it.
second row on top.
And you can
There you go.
highlight a
There you
spot
go.
right
Some of y'all get on top. There you go. Squeeze in, get on top. Don't be afraid.
Short people in the front.
You family members can come on up and get your shot there.
Okay, and big smiles in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. And family photos? Yeah, family photos, come on up.
Make sure to get everybody. Hang on one second. Congratulations.
Sorry, I closed it out. Great people.
OC, are you sitting down? How many hours does it take to get that?
Well over 100.
Okay.
Say that easily, well over 100 hours of education.
So, and they know, and I think some of them are still here, some left, but you're our defenders now of our community. I'll bet after all that time, your perception of city operations has changed a little bit. And, and I've said this before, I think council probably agrees with me that we really appreciate the time y'all invested to do that. It helps us because you help in the community by answering questions out where all the discussion occurs about why the city does that or why it doesn't do something. And with your knowledge, you're a big help to us. So appreciate it very much. Congratulations. So we're still in items from council. I have a few. Does anybody else want to start? Or? I'll start. Of course, we do know Mr. Halapaska. This is your last meeting, I believe, pretty much.
On council, yes, I still have Sales Tax Development Corp. And then the final meeting where I sit and do the Pledge of Allegiance and then say bye-bye.
Okay. So this is your last meeting to vote on items and whatnot, and then, okay.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
And how many years?
The next time, all I get to do is do the Pledge of Allegiance.
So 15 years on council?
Yeah.
And you beat me for
Been
that
an
spot.
honor, it's been
Remember?
interesting.
Yeah.
Served with a bunch of good people.
We ran against each other, you remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you remember the joke?
Coca-Cola won.
Right, we have to explain that joke, and I'm taking a little liberty, guys, y'all, well, I won't drag it out too long, but when we ran against each other, and Mr. Halapaska filed after I filed for this seat, and I went and said, Tom, why did you do that? If you'd have told me, I'd have never run against you, because your last name is so well-known, it's like running against someone with the last name of Coca-Cola. So he's given me a hard time about that for 15 years, but I have nothing but respect for what you've done, and you know that. So, and I know the community knows that too. So, thank you.
And we've served together through a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Issues come and issues go.
Yep.
You just try to address them head on, try to work together to form a consensus. I feel like y'all are being left in good hands. Don't need to nursemaid you anymore.
All right. Very good.
That's funny.
And then, of course, our city manager, this is her last night, her last meeting as well. So I know I've worked with Charmel a long time, and she wants no fanfare whatsoever, but I can't go without saying something. So it's been a pleasure, and you
Thank
know
you.
that. So
Appreciate it.
you've helped us and guide this city for a number of years now. So your total years with the city was 24?
28.
28. I was trying to shortchange you a
Yeah,
few
that's
years. Okay. Okay. Well, you know how
Thank you.
appreciated you
I
are.
do. I appreciate it, Paul.
I just had to point all that out.
Yeah.
Interesting, a little bit of praise. You know that pothole video that staff made? Someone in New Orleans saw that in the city of New Orleans and were so impressed, they want to use it as a training video. Is that right? Wouldn't you know? So good job. And OC, your department did a lot of that. Those two guys behind you. Okay, very good job. That's, we should celebrate those things. You also have some code enforcement videos you're making, and if y'all haven't seen those are pretty neat. I saw one on Facebook where you follow a code enforcement officer around. That's a tough job. Try being a code enforcement officer for a day. So those, I got him up. He's gonna, that's okay.
I did want to mention, yeah, those have blown up, and we have a lot of other a day with videos planned, a day with our surface water treatment plant, a day with our crime victims liaison here at Police Department. There's a lot of unknown positions at the City of Victoria, people doing very important roles, very important tasks, and we're going to try and educate the public on that through some multimedia efforts. So,
Very good. And there is one item, too, in the consent agenda. I don't want to pull it, but I want to thank Hartman Distributing, their annual fireworks expenditure. They're kicking in half. And so for the July 4th fireworks, very nice of them to do that. The community, I believe it's about $15,000, is that right?
15, they
Okay.
donate.
Okay. So, okay, we're still in items from council. Does anyone have anything else?
I just wanted to add another comment to Charmel. Thank you for all the years that you've been here. I've known you since I was here back in the 90s, so it was a pleasant time, and we still have a pleasant time together.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and God bless you in your new endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Charmel, I started in 1976 with the City of Victoria. What year did you start?
Well, I was a junior in high school then. Sorry.
Ricky, I was 11 years old then. You look great. You look good. You really do.
For 81, I look pretty good.
No, don't push it. Okay. Are we through picking on Charmel?
Yeah.
Are we? Okay. Thank y'all. All right, no other items from council then? Citizens communication, we'll open that up. If anyone would like to come forward and talk about anything, just remember we have our 5-minute time limit as a courtesy to everyone else here.
Hi, I'm Michael Vondro. I live at East North Mobile Home Park. Someone's trailer house was stolen, and I was wondering if someone could help retrieve his trailer house. I don't know if it was number 11 or 13, but he asked me to help him, and I said, we'll get with Crime Stoppers, and we'll solve this crime and stuff. Maybe make a video, but there's cameras there, and no one in East North Mobile Home Park seen a big old trailer house being stolen. And I told him, I'm going to help you get your trailer house back because everyone needs a home. How would you like it if you went home and your house was gone and no one seen nothing? And at 3 a.m., 2 Siberian Huskies attacked me. When I opened the door, I heard a bunch of barking, and I called the police, and they came like a minute later, and they took care of it. So I just wanted to warn the police if they come, those Siberian Huskies, they're running loose in East North Mobile Home Park. So just be careful, And there's a lot of more issues, but I just wanted to talk about the two main ones,
Okay. Did y'all file a report on the stolen mobile home?
It wasn't mine, so I didn't
Okay.
file a report. I just said call the police, but the trailer park manager has cameras going to the mailbox, and hopefully, they can find his trailer. I told him next time paint it like purple and orange, a weird color where they could see it, and put a GPS on it. And
Yeah.
he said I didn't expect no one to steal it. It didn't have no tires, They had to put some tires on it. So he said it sounds like an inside job, But there's always something at East North Mobile Home Park. Well,
Okay.
Thanks a lot for listening. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Michael. Okay, citizens communication still open. Anyone else would like to speak about anything? Come on up.
Haven't done this before. My name is Melissa Lewis. I live at 4109 John Stockbar Drive, Victoria. But I just wanted to say thank you for tonight And also, you recognize social workers last month, earlier this month, and thank you for that. But when I moved to Victoria about 4 years ago, I turned on my TV, and the first thing that came on was the announcement about the Citizens Academy. So I said, if I'm going to live here, I better learn how to play here. And so I put in my application, was accepted. And then I went on, as OC said, to the other city academies and learned so much about the city. And I've shared that with other people, and it's just surprising that the residents of Victoria doesn't take advantage of those things. So my plea is that for city council, please don't ever stop budgeting for those programs because it's very helpful. And I thank you.
Thank you. And I agree with you.
That
Says-
seemed to be pretty much of a universal thing, that when people go through those academies, they learn a lot about what we deal with. It seems, they really seem to enjoy just knowing how things work. And a little bit more what they didn't know before.
Absolutely.
You know, two of the current mayoral candidates went through it this year, Steve Meacham and Dr. Vic Morgan. But I know Paul went through it, and there's several people that have gone through it and they've run for office, so.
Very good, very true. Citizens communication still open, if anyone else? Okay, seeing no one, will close citizens communication, and we do have two items that have public hearings attached to them.
The first item actually has two public hearings attached to it. It is the first and second public hearings on the annexation proceedings as required by Texas Local Government Code for expedited annexation proceedings when annexing an area with less than 100 separate tracts of land for the proposed annexation of up to approximately 74 acres of land located near the intersection of the proposed Placido Benavides Drive and Salem Road, and the presentation of the annexation service plan.
Okay, so you said there are two public hearings on C1?
That's correct, and then no action is required. There's no vote on this tonight. It's just two public hearings.
So public hearing on each piece of property?
No, we have one public hearing, and then we close that public hearing, and we have to have a second one.
It's because it's an expedited process with less than 100
Oh, I
acres.
got you. I think we've done this before.
did.
Okay, let's open the public
Previously.
hearing on C1. If you want to speak to C1 only, now would be the time. And there's no vote,
That's correct?
but we can discuss.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to close the public hearings, the first public hearing on C1. And I'll open the second public hearing on C1. Is there anyone want to talk about this annexation at all? Okay, seeing no one, I'll close the second public hearing on C1. So we've had two public hearings.
Thank you.
I just wanted to draw council's attention to the chart on page 5 in your agenda of these two tracks and the appraised value and taxable value. Jeff's grinning because I showed it to him. I mean, I don't, I'm a short timer up here too, so someone joked recently that I get my freedom of speech back real soon. I can say some things differently, but, so you have 34 acres appraised at $24,000. But due to the ag exemption, the taxable value is $636. Am I reading that right? And then we have another tract of 40 acres valued at $28,000, which has an ag exemption. It's taxed at $747. So for 74 acres, the total taxes revenue gain for us will be $8.61. So if anyone tells you we annex land to make money, no, we lose money, okay? $8.61 doesn't pay for the copies to print this. But I think it's more of an interesting statement about ag exemptions, which is, I know, not part of this debate. But it's just very telling about a situation when our residents, what they pay on a typical home in town, and then you see 74 acres paying $8.61 in tax. Very frustrating to me. So that's all I want to say about it. Anyone else have anything to add? Okay. Well, let's do C2 then.
C2 is an ordinance amending Chapter 22 of the Victoria City Code to make various changes, including revisions to speed limits, repealing parts of conflicting ordinances, providing a penalty not to exceed $500 upon conviction, providing for publication, savings, and declaring an effective date.
So we'll open the public hearing on C2. Seeing no one come up to speak about C2, we'll close the public hearing. And I did, counsel, you have a copy of an email I got this afternoon, I believe, and
Got it.
just wanted to make sure you
Yes.
saw that email. Okay. All right, we need a motion.
Make a motion to approve item C2.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion at all?
I wanted to just specify something. Now, we are lowering the speed limit on Vine Street from Cherokee Lane to Red River, right?
Yes, I believe so.
By 5 miles, okay. And then we're also going to increase the speed limit to 35. Is that from Vine Street, from Red River to North Street? That's the part that goes in front of the school that they're talking about, right?
That's gonna be lowered.
That's going to be lowered as well from 35
It's
to
at
30.
35 currently,
We're gonna lower it by
down to
5.
30.
Well,
Okay.
both of
They're
them will lower-
increasing
lower
the
by 5.
restriction,
reduce
but
both
that
of
means
them, okay.
lowering the speed limit.
Red
Oh,
funding.
okay, okay,
The red funding.
okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that it did go down because it seemed like the letter said that it had gone up.
Wording is a little odd.
Okay.
I had to read it 2 or 3 times myself. It said
Yeah.
increasing the speed limits,
Yeah, I apologize.
and it means
for
they're
that.
lowering it. They're increasing the restrictions on the speed.
That section of the schedule, that schedule is titled Increased Speed Limits because it lists various areas in the city where the speed limit has been raised above the standard 30 miles an hour. So that's why that section is titled Increased Speed Limit. We're just decreasing the amount of the increase, if that makes sense.
Okay, totally confused now. Yeah, I did the same thing.
Legalese is the second language.
That's kind of talk they use in Washington. Yeah, decreasing the amount of the increase. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Everybody's clear. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, ayes have it. Consent agenda.
There are 4 items on the consent agenda that will be approved by a single vote tonight. They are first, the approval of the minutes of the special meeting on March 25th, 2019, the regular meeting of April 2nd, 2019, and the special meeting of April 4th, 2019. Second, the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Zambelli Fireworks for fireworks for the 4th of July fireworks show in the amount of $30,000 and declaring an effective date. Third is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amendment to the agreement with First Vehicle Services to extend the contract for 1 year and allow modified fees for fleet management and maintenance services for a target cost of $1,311,823 and declaring an effective date. And the fourth is an ordinance readopting Chapter 8 of the City Code related to finance and taxation, providing for publication, enforcement, codification, and savings, and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to approve items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, ayes have it. E1.
Item E1 is a resolution approving the payout of up to 84.93 hours of accrued vacation and holiday leave for the city manager upon her retirement and declaring an effective date.
I move to approve item E1.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any questions? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. You bet. Ayes have it. All right, city manager report. April.
This report is to give you guys a list of the appointments that we'll need to do to fill positions that Mayor Pro Tem Halapaska currently holds after he leaves office. We have Victoria Metropolitan Planning Organization that he holds a place on that until replaced, and that does have to be filled by a council member. All these positions do. And he also holds a position on the Victoria Health Facilities Development Corporation. That appointment is until June 2020, and the Victoria Sales Tax Development Corporation, he has an appointment until December 31st, 2020. So we can bring these back at the next meeting, or we can hold off till after, after the new council members are in place and appoint after that. So it could be the first or second meeting in May, or even later if y'all so choose.
I'd like to postpone it until the new councils are seated.
I would suggest that
Yeah.
you at least consider the MPO appointment because they're working on the MTP right now. And, you know, if you wait till after the mayor's race, you're waiting until sometime in June, so, and normally the mayor is not served on the MPO. It's usually another council member, so.
Jan's not here, we could,
Jan serves on the MPO right now.
She
She's the
does.
vice chair of that committee.
y'all are
so.
the two, okay. So what you're saying, Ms. Garrett, is just do it sooner than later? Not tonight? or
No,
do-
no, no, no.
Yeah,
but
wait
I
till
would
after.
suggest maybe in May, at
That
least
first
on the
one.
MPO.
Right.
Yeah, try to get
That's
that
fine.
done.
I would like to be considered for the Sales Tax Development Corporation.
Okay. I'm sure that's very doable.
And I'd like to be considered for the Victoria Health Facilities Development Corporation.
Okay, hold on, I lost my spot in here, let's see. Okay, sales tax. Okay, so Jeff, you're, how about sales tax? Ricky, which one did, health facilities?
Health.
Yes.
Okay, that leaves Josie. I'm sorry, I'm just teasing y'all.
Okay.
The
well,
Josie.
I'll take
MPO is a good
MPO.
one. I
I'll
mean,
take MPO.
Okay,
You've done
you
that
got
before.
off the hook,
I did.
I've never done
I'm
it.
on the health facilities already.
are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me mention a little bit about MPO. There are 25 districts, TxDOT districts. There are 25 MPOs. And the Yoakum district is what we're under. That obviously has DeWitt, Lavaca County, and so on. So it's not necessarily just one county. It's a town that has over 50,000 people, which is Victoria in this district. You get out into West Texas, it might be San Angelo for some of those, but because the districts are slightly larger. But it's the only thing, we get a chance to sit at the table, and they put the highway funds into a pot, and we get a little piece of it. If there's no one at the table, we get nothing. So you need to have that post manned. It might be dull and boring like guard duty, but it's still important to be done.
Or duty.
Okay, I'll take it.
That's important. It's very important. There's 2 county commissioners on it. And I mean, and I think Julie runs it pretty much, our planning director. Yeah. Okay,
It has to be a council member is the only thing.
right, right. Very good.
And then the city manager's automatically appointed to the board. So once Jesus assumes his job after May 20th, he'll be immediately appointed to the board too.
Okay.
When's the next meeting of the MPO? Y'all just had one, didn't you?
We had one today.
That was my last MPO meeting today.
It's the second Tuesday in June. I don't have the exact date off the top of my
Okay.
head.
Okay. We'll officially make those appointments in the next few meetings. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, council members that volunteered. Okay, Mr. Janacek, you've brought a guest with you. Mr. Van Manen is here as usual.
Tonight is the official delivery of the fiscal year 2018 CAFR. Harrison Waldrop and Uherrick began the audit process back in September and wrapped up in March. The CAFR has been posted to the website and distributed to all respective agencies. And I have Steve Van Manen here from HWU, who's going to present the audit report and some selected financial data of the financial statements. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Wesley. Mayor and members of council, I was asked by a few of the staff how long I intended to speak tonight. I can take a hint. So what I'm going to do is just go over some of the highlights of this report. You know, the document is over 200 pages long. You know, y'all have had access to this, and I certainly encourage council to review this document. The auditor's opinion is the same as y'all have received in a prior year. It's what's called an unqualified or a clean opinion. You know, from a CPA's perspective, this is the highest form of assurance that I could give council and the citizens of Victoria that these financial statements are accurate. This past year, the governmental activities, business type activities, both had an increase in what's called the net position. You know, there are users of this document other than the council, and primarily it would be bond rating agencies. And that's their primary concern is, did the financial condition of the city improve or decline from the prior fiscal year? You know, and that is found in the section titled Management's Discussion and Analysis. There's a financial statement title of Change in Net Position. And the increase in net position was about $11 million this past year. So a good increase in the net position. That's a positive sign for the rating agencies. You know, the city at 9/30/2018 had a little over $130 million outstanding in bonded debt. You know, that sounds like a lot of money. In the next 3 years, a third of that is going to be repaid. Y'all have a very aggressive repayment schedule for this debt. In 5 years, almost 50% of that 130 is going to be repaid. So again, there is a lot of debt, but it's on a very aggressive repayment schedule. There's a budget comparison in the report for the general fund, and pleased to say there were no overages on any of the budget categories, so all budget line items were in compliance with council's approved budget. And hopefully, y'all have had a chance to look at this, and I certainly would appreciate any questions that y'all may have at this point. In the back of the report, there's a section called the statistical section. A lot of good historical information. This is 10 years worth of property tax, property values, revenues, expenses, changes in fund balances. So I would certainly encourage, if you're going to use any of your time to review this, go to the stats section and just look at that, especially when you're approaching the budget process. I mean, this is some good information in this document. I'm going to stop there. Any questions? I'll certainly attempt to answer them.
No questions, council? Thank you.
So I want to express our appreciation for the work. You know, we worked with Wesley for the first time this year. Good learning experience for both of us. I mean, we can bounce things back and forth from each other. And, you know, he jumped into this whole Hurricane Harvey reimbursement plan, and that's worked very smoothly. I was really surprised at how quickly a lot of these reimbursements hit. I know there's still some reimbursements left, but I mean, really the process went very smooth, thanks to Wesley and the finance staff.
Very good. Thank you. We appreciate the hard look that you do at all our books.
If questions come up after night, please feel free to invite me back at a future council meeting, or just give me a call.
Thank you. Okay, we have a couple more comments from the city manager, I believe.
Yeah, I've asked for the floor if you don't mind. And Steve, thank you. You yielded your time back to me, so I'll take the next 8 minutes, right? So, but, you know, I'd be remiss with not at least thanking everybody, thanking my staff. I see those department heads out there. We've got several at conferences this week, but, and then John, who served as my assistant city manager for the last 7 years of my 8 years of tenure. It's been a great ride. I had a city manager tell me one day, this career is one of the best careers you could ever do, and I agree with it. But almost 29 years of service with the city, you know, it's nice to be able to exit stage left. So I've enjoyed it. Mr. Halapaska, I appreciate your tenure. It's been fun. And one thing I have to say about you is that I always knew where I stood. You were always very frank and honest, and were willing to.
Sorry, I can't help that.
Well, and I appreciate that. That's a rare trait in people today, because it's very, you know, some people don't want to hurt your feelings or whatever, but you always told me what you thought I needed to hear, whether I wanted to hear it or not. So, and it was great. And Paul, I know that you will be retiring soon too, or, you know, after many years, and I appreciate the service. I've enjoyed that mayor relationship that a city manager has. It's a close working relationship, and again, very blunt and honest, and you know, I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. So I know Mayor Armstrong's not here, but he and I had the same working relationship when he was here as mayor, and I appreciate the opportunities he gave me. One thing that I've enjoyed about this council is you look at the city as a whole. We don't do ward politics, which you hear of some cities that do that, but you always look at the city as a whole, and we are very fortunate. I know Ricky sent me a question the other day from someone that was in Jeff's district. Well, Ricky answered the gentleman. He didn't say, you know, you need to talk to your council member. It was like, no, I'll answer the question. And that's one of the things this council has always done, you know. My husband's sitting in the back of the room. He normally doesn't come to meetings. It's one of those things you don't need to come. But so, you know, it's that old saying, your spouse takes things a lot more personal than you do. It's true, right, Jack? So I told Kevin if he moved from his seat to go ahead and tackle him, he had my permission, so. But you can't do a job that's as demanding and as, that's, takes a lot of time away from your family without good support from a spouse. And so Jack, thank you for all your support. Thank you for putting up with my complaining when I would get home. And also for being there as a rock for me. And I can't see his face, which is probably a good thing. So, but again, the department heads, couldn't do it without you. You made my job easy. You made me look good. So, and I know you will do the same for Jesus. The city's going to be in great hands, and I know Jesus is eager to get started, and he will do a wonderful job for us. So, it's been a great ride, and thank you again very much. So,
You're very, very welcome, and we know you're going to enjoy your retirement.
I
I think
am.
Jack's back there to make sure you actually quit.
I think so.
No, you're leaving, and I think my wife snuck in. Is she back to, there she is, sitting next to
Okay,
him. So
Michelle.
I got a couple more meetings, hon, so 3 more, 3 or 4 more.
I wanted to mention one thing, that my wife will be the happiest person in this town.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Thank you.
You bet, thank you. No further business, we're adjourned. Thank you.
That's a short meeting.